Arcane are one of my favourite developers in the industry. Dishonored 1 was a brilliant stealth game that incorporated immersive elements to create a world you could get lost in. Dishonored 2 improved upon this formula in basically every way, creating levels that could be beaten in various ways, including one of the best levels in gaming history, the Clockwork Mansion. Prey was one of the best games of the previous console generation, with one of the most enticing atmospheres ever constructed and, once again, stellar level design. Deathloop released in September to glowing reviews, 10 out of 10s and 9 out of 10s across the board. I was understandably buzzing to play the game, so I picked it up day one. Deathloop is a good game. In fact, I wouldn't object to calling it a great game. But it's simply not a 10 out of 10, and it is Arcane's worst piece of work to date, and in this video, I'm going to tell you why. So, the first point I want to make clear is, I liked Deathloop. I think it's really fun. There are times where I'm so immersed and I'm really ingrained in the world, and it will be on my Game of the Year list. But to give this game a 10 out of 10, to me, is ludicrous. I know that a 10 out of 10 doesn't mean that a game is perfect. A 10 out of 10 just means that a game is in the highest tier of quality. But even still, I don't think this is. But let's go through the good parts about the game first. Arcane deserve a lot of credit for trying something a bit different. Many fans would probably have gone into this expecting Dishonored, but that's not what this is. Ambition is something that should be celebrated in this industry, and when a studio as talented as Arcane shows it, that can only ever be a good thing. Deathloop has a really interesting structure. It's not a roguelike or a roguelite, it's just a game that takes place within a time loop. There are 4 periods in the loop: morning, noon, afternoon, and evening. There are also 4 locations: the Complex, Updam, Carl's Bay and Fristad Rock. Each location is different depending on the time of day you visit. Which visionaries will be there changes, the enemy placement changes, the security defences change. The aim of the game is to figure out a system where you can take out all 8 visionaries in one day. At the end of the day, you can infuse your gear with Residium, a currency you acquire by killing visionaries or Juliana, but we'll talk about Juliana in a little bit. When you infuse your gear, you get to keep it forever, and can bring it into future loops. This can be weapons, upgrades, abilities, anything. At the end of the day, the loop resets. The loop also resets if you die 3 times. But you won't die 3 times, and I'll explain why later on. So that's how the game is structured. But you know what the best part of this game is? Colt and Juliana. You play as Colt, a man who has found himself stuck in this time loop, and of course intends to break the loop by killing all the visionaries. The main obstacle to Colt is Juliana. Juliana will try to kill Colt in each loop to stop him from breaking it. You know what the best part is though? Juliana is controlled by another player. This makes gameplay so tense. When you're in the middle of an enemy base or whatever and all of a sudden you get told that a player has invaded your game, you shit yourself. These moments are where the game is flat out at its best. A game of cat and mouse ensues and it's fantastic. But the best part about Colt and Juliana is the voice actors behind them. I want to give major credit to, and I apologise for any mispronunciation, Jason E. Kelly as Colt and Ozioma Akaga as Juliana. They really brought these characters to life. Their dynamic is absolutely hilarious. The chemistry between the two of them was easily the highlight of this game for me. Whenever Juliana would contact Colt on the radio and they'd start bickering or having banter, it was fantastic. The narrative hinges on these two characters being likeable and entertaining, and they most definitely are. The levels are also really cool. There's tons of different areas within each level, and as I touched upon earlier, they change substantially depending on the time of day. The Complex, for example. During the day, it's filled with workers. Well, working. But in the evening, it's a ghost town, and instead there's just a bunch of landmines everywhere. The levels are detailed, they're fun mini sandboxes. Seal of approval from me. There's also a lot of customization options for your loadout. You're allowed to take 2 powers with you into the field. So for example, you can turn invisible, or you can link 2 enemies together, and you can choose whichever you want based on the build you're going for. I was mostly focusing around stealth, so I bought Shift, where I can skip short distances, just like in Dishonored, and Aether, where I can go invisible. You can bring upgrades for these as well to make them stronger. The way you unlock the powers and the upgrades is by defeating the visionaries and looting them. This encourages you to repeat the loop over and over to get stronger for your final run. You have 3 weapons which you can upgrade with 3 each, and then 4 character upgrades such as 50% extra health or the ability to hack landmines. Now it's time to talk about the problems with this game, in no particular order. What's your favourite part of any game? Is it by chance rooting through drawers and desks searching for collectibles? Well, that's essentially what every mission of this game is. Except they're not collectibles, they're mandatory quest items that give you knowledge to progress the game. Often, your objective and mission marker will take you to a room, at which point you just root through an office for a voice recording or a terminal message. There's some interesting stuff here if you want to read it all, but you don't. This mission structure makes the game feel a bit repetitive at times, which isn't helped by the game taking place in the same 4 areas. The next issue I have is that they clearly ran out of ideas in terms of the upgrades. There are cool ones, such as the hacking landmines one I mentioned earlier. As soon as I unlocked that, I added it straight away and never removed it. But there are far too many that are decreased damage by X amount, or slightly reduced recoil, or do X amount more damage. These aren't cool upgrades. Something I didn't like at first was how you could only take 2 powers into a level with you, compared to Dishonored where you would have a whole wheel. But the more I played the game I thought, yeah, this game isn't trying to be Dishonored, and I understood the decision better. Now, I mentioned how brilliant Juliana is as a character and as a mechanic, but my god, is she horrible to play as. As stressful as it can be to be invaded, you very quickly realise that unless you suck or you mess up, Juliana is not killing you. It is so poorly balanced. For a start, Colt has 3 lives, and while the aim of the game as Juliana is to sneak up on Colt and not attack him in head-to-head combat, it's a tough ask to do this 3 times without being spotted, and even then, Colt has so much HP that by the time you're attacking him, he probably already knows and can just turn around and kill you, because Juliana's health is very low. Most players scan the surroundings enough to the point where you can't even get the drop on them. I don't think I'm great at this game. And in my 20-hour playthrough, I was never killed by Juliana. Not even once. As soon as you realise how little of a threat she poses, she loses that fear factor. Finally, the combat is bad. Obviously, stealth is the best option, and this isn't the first stealth game to have poor combat. Think of the Hitman series, for example. Those games have poor combat to encourage players to play stealthily, as it was designed. But here, there are so many cool weapons designed for full frontal combat. There are sniper rifles, LMGs, 2 pistols that you can combine into a bigger SMG. I love that weapon, by the way. Yet, the out-and-out combat is so poor. I think I have footage of this, but if one enemy spots you in the middle of a base, suddenly everyone in a 12-mile radius knows your exact location, and they'll all just attack you at once. Obviously, the best option is to then disappear, relocate and try again. But I don't think that excuses the combat feeling so clunky. And yet, the biggest problem with this game is that the AI is monumentally stupid. This is widely considered to be the biggest issue this game has. And then you get some fans, I don't know, loyally, shall we say, naively saying, it's overblown, the AI isn't that bad. I like this game, but come on, let's not lie to ourselves here. The AI is dreadful. Is it by design? I don't know. Maybe? That doesn't change the fact that it's bad. You can stab an enemy that is directly behind another enemy, and the second guy will just not react. It's dumb. It doesn't break the game, but it's dumb. It's such an easy game, and the fact that you have 3 lives means you will not fail. You will simply not fail. One final issue is that the endings, all three of them, are so underwhelming. Each one is like a 2-minute cutscene. Not good enough, Arcane. So why is Deathloop disappointing? The main reason is that Arcane are such talented developers with such a brilliant catalogue of games behind them that perhaps it was naive to expect such quality from Deathloop. Deathloop isn't as good a game as Prey or Dishonored 2, but the more hours I sunk into Deathloop, the more I realised that it wasn't trying to be Prey or Dishonored. It was trying to be Deathloop. I will always praise ambition within this industry, and I tip my hat off to Arcane. They tried something different, and for the most part, it worked. Phenomenal voice acting, interesting world design, and an intriguing concept are impeded by uninspired objectives, outrageously poor AI, and an underwhelming ending. Deathloop initially disappointed me, but I have to say, by the time the credits rolled, I accepted that it's a good game, that I can easily recommend. It's Arcane's weakest work in a while, but that's more a testament to how strong a developer they are, rather than the quality of Deathloop. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, then please make sure to leave a like, as it would be greatly appreciated by me. And if you want to see more fantastic gaming videos just like this one, then make sure to subscribe, because I upload every single Friday. Have a nice day, and goodbye.
Attitude, you know, I usually make it easy for you, you ungrateful prick. But this time I'll let you see yourself out.
Yup, we made it. Why are you doing this? What did I do to you?
Oh, you don't remember. How about that code? You remember that yet?
I don't know the code.